Pixels. Of course, I'm Liz.
I'm Mike.
I'm Brandon.
And it is Valentine's Day as we're recording this. So we are going to talk about all the things that we love about space, which is going to be pretty much everything.
And just so everybody knows, this will be a 250-hour show because we love it all.
Because we love everything about space, and space is big. There's so much to it. But first, of course, we got to talk about something else we love, and that's our drinks that go along with the space. So, Mike, what are you drinking?
I'm going to call it the Orion Nebula.
Oh.
Yeah, and it has blood orange vodka. It has triple sec, coconut rum. Has all our coconut rum in it. Mixed with a tropical blend, which is pineapple juice and mango juice. And floating on top, we have cran mango.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, yeah.
Wait,
Wow.
we have pineapple juice?
I bought it today. When I went to the store to get orange juice and it came home with cookies, I also came home with that tropical blend.
There you go. Brandon, what are you drinking?
So to lead myself off, I'm having Kilonova red wine. Well done.
Hey.
And then after that, I'll round it off with a white dwarf, which is just a white Russian.
Nice. That
But
classic.
white dwarf sounds nice, yeah.
It does. I am drinking a Black Heart Nebula, which is not a real
Black
nebula,
Heart.
but it is.
Should
It should be a real nebula. It is cran cherry juice and
Cran blackberry juice with,
some bitter.
that's what you said.
cran blackberry, cran black because the dark heart,
Black heart, yeah.
cran blackberry juice and
Sinfire
whiskey. Delicious. Mm-mm-mm.
They
Yeah,
also
like
have it
Black
waiting in the
And I
rocket.
got it waiting in the wings. Anyway, now we got our drinks out of the way. We do, of course, have some of our classic drinking rules to play along with. So if you hear any doggies barking, that's a drink. If we make any Lord of the Rings references, that's a drink. And do we want to keep the Star Wars rule? Okay. If we make any Star Wars references, take a drink as well.
I think we
Now-
should add some more.
Let's talk about what we love about space.
Let's do
I
it.
love space.
Space.
End. That's the end. I love space.
I love
Everything in it,
space.
everything about it, everyone in it.
And that's our episode. So,
So
thanks for joining us, guys.
everyone.
Yeah.
Space
The
is
dogs,
awesome.
dogs did not bark, so
So
I guess we
gotta
gotta
just
drink
chug your
something.
drink.
I don't know what we gotta do.
All right, I will start it off with one thing that I really love, and that is just a dark night sky.
Oh yes.
Oh, that is good.
Because that is our first window to space, the main window that we have to space, and a lot of people, of course, nowadays, because we have so much light pollution in city lights, a lot of people really don't see it as it's really supposed to be seen.
And
Right.
also just that when you're in the good dark sky away from the city and cars and traffics and there's just no sound for that moment and you look up and see that soundless sky as well, it just creates like a euphoric sensation of
Yes.
peace and tranquility.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
And my awareness of really like how little we see in just a normal city area really came into my cognitive perception when we would go to Alamo Lake State Park.
Yep.
We would bring the telescopes out there for a telescope event that we would be a part of, hosted by, what was the astronomy group that hosted it?
Verde Valley Astronomy Club.
Verde Valley Astronomy Club?
Yeah, something like that.
So they would invite us out. We'd bring the telescopes, and I remember my first time doing it, and it gets dark, and I look up, and I'm like, holy shit.
It just explodes.
Because I mean, in the planetarium, obviously, it's like, hey, this is what it can look like. But the real dark night sky in a dark area and seeing that, the haziness of the Milky Way going overhead and just stars littering the entire sky and just, that peace and quiet, except for the occasional zombie donkey sound that would happen. That was terrifying. But it's absolutely beautiful.
When was the first time that you remember seeing the Milky Way? Because I
It
remember
was
the exact
then.
time.
It was
Oh,
then
it
at
was
Alamo
Alamo
Lake
Lake?
State. It was
Wow.
Alamo Lake State Park because I think that was when, that like space and astronomy was in the forefront of my mind, and what I had really, I mean, I'd always been interested in it, but I never, as a teenager or younger, I never really paid attention because I mean, I
Yeah.
did go many times to like Yosemite when I was younger and that sort of thing, but never really paid attention to the sky. So it wasn't until I was older and we were out there and I was like, holy shit.
Yep.
It was just the most beautiful, amazing thing.
And then you also notice when you're in this clear skies that the stars have all the different colors to them as well. You can actually see the Christmas lights in the sky. Like, they're not just all like blues or whatever. There's reds and yellows, and this is beautiful.
They're brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you don't understand the brilliance of stars until you go out away from the street lights and city glare and actually see it.
It's like a deep breath for your eyes.
And and your soul, to be honest. You're looking at this and you realize that there's more than just this daily grind that we do every single day.
There's a whole wide universe out there, folks.
I remember the first time I saw the Milky Way, like I was cognizant of it. I was 20 years old in New Hampshire, and I was in the middle of nowhere around the little lake. I'm looking up, and I go, wow, this is a great sky. It would be great if that cloud would get out of the way. And then I went to bed, and I went out the next night as well. I looked back up. Look, man, that's not a cloud. Wait a minute.
That's no cloud.
Holy shit. So that was an incredible moment, yeah.
That's no cloud.
Oh, yes, Dave. We'll take it.
That's all right.
It counts.
I was going to.
Close enough. Cloud, moon, same thing.
So Mike, we talked about the brilliance of the night sky, just like the feeling of looking at it. What about you? What's one thing you love about space?
I'll save my philosophical for later, but I think what I love, this might be tied into the philosophical, but dark matter and dark energy, because we don't know what the fuck it is. We know it's there.
We know it's what it's not. We know it's not a giant block of cheese in the cosmos.
That's true.
So cross that off the list.
That would be awesome, though. I would be the first astronaut to go there and eat that cheese. But just we're able to look out into the universe, and we're able to discover things that we don't know about, that we did not know about. And as scientists, we are not afraid. I know this is hard for a lot of people, but we're not afraid to say we don't know what it is. And dark matter and dark energy, epitomize that, I guess, because we don't know what it is. We know it's there. We know that it's really quite significant in the universe, and will be significant for the evolution of the universe, but we just have no idea what it is.
Mysterious.
Do you think within our lifetimes we'll figure out what it is?
Well, that's a good question.
See, so many things change within a single lifetime.
Is James Webb supposed to help with dark?
Oh, they're never gonna. It should, but they will never launch James
Webb. Get up there.
It'll happen.
Get up there.
The optimist in me says yes. One of our dogs is dreaming, but the optimist in me says yes. I think we need new physics, but the optimist in me says yes, and we'll be able to figure it out. But I am so far removed from the inner workings and the smart people that figure this shit out that they might already have an answer.
Whatever, you're a fancy physics man.
Okay.
TM trademarks.
Oh, we should trademark that.
We should. Fancy physics man. I love it. All right, Brandon. What's something you love?
So, one of the things I love most about space is the community and the space people. We get so excited and passionate about any small detail about space, whether it's a planetary geologist, the physicists, the people building rockets, and they all have these built-in magical communities. And the network is just so friendly and great and open. That's how I came to know you guys, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I have some of my best friends as well, is through the space community. And we can just sit for hours on end talking about space and getting excited about it. And then we all help each other as well. So it's most of the time it's an extremely healthy, enduring environment, and I love those people in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that too, especially like the well, I mean, the only space community I've been in is the planetarium community, and it was. I mean, I initially applied for and subsequently, of course, got the job at the planetarium so I could work on my public speaking skills because I was in college to become a high school history teacher, and I love the planetarium, but after I went to my first planetarium conference and like just met all these different planetarians and that community and that camaraderie, and it was
Hmm.
just, it was like it was so great that I was like, you know what, this is where I want to be. This is like
Yeah.
where I want to stay. So it's like I graduated and I could have become a history teacher, but I was like, fuck that. I'm staying in the planetarium and talk about space,
Yeah.
bitches. I
Like
don't have to write lesson plans.
even when I was back at Kennedy Space Center, we would stay after work for like an hour or so, just talking about rockets and talking
Mm-hmm.
about space and the history. And it wasn't just a job for those people; it
Yeah.
was a love, a deep love, and
Real
it
life.
so shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that about space and the people. And
I
we
love
just so
that.
that's why everyone gets excited. We just want to share it with everyone. We think
Mm-hmm.
everyone wants to know how great this is.
Because it's so amazing, which
It really is.
which then leads to like another thing that I love about space, which can only be done because of us humans and our minds of creation or whatever. But all the space pictures.
Space pictures.
Yes.
Like we've been able to develop technology where we can take pictures of things that are these, pun intended, astronomical distances away, that we would never be able to see otherwise, like
Hmm.
nebulae and galaxies. I mean, the one of the most prolific, I think, space images, the Hubble Deep Field or Hubble Ultra Deep Field,
Yep.
where it's like 10,000
Ah.
galaxies in one picture.
Yeah, and you know what? I absolutely love this about that picture is that they purposely aimed the Hubble Space Telescope to a patch of the sky that had nothing in it.
Mm-hmm.
They took the picture
Mm-hmm.
and it explodes with galaxies.
Yeah.
Uh,
It explodes with light, basically.
Yep.
And I remember building that up, explaining it in the planetarium, like a packed house, for example, and saying we just point it in like X amount of hours, and it goes like at this blank point in space, and then I bring up the picture, and you just hear everybody gasp at all the
Yeah.
galaxies and trillions
Uh-huh.
of worlds.
Yeah.
Ah.
It is absolutely amazing. It's an amazing picture. If you haven't seen it, please Google Hubble Deep Field, Hubble
Mhm.
Ultra Deep Field.
Mhm.
The Hubble Ultra Deep Field, I think it's the southern version of the Deep Field, but
Okay.
it was later
Mhm.
than the Deep Field. The Deep Field was the first one, and it's incredible.
And that also reminds me that today is the 31st anniversary of the famous pale blue dot picture.
Oh.
This is when the Voyager
shit.
spacecraft has, left, well beyond Pluto at this point, and Carl Sagan convinced NASA to turn Voyager around for one last snapshot and hopefully get like a family portrait of the solar system. And it happened to get Earth just, suspended there in the sunbeam.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah,
I
the
love
mote of
it.
dust and
I love
the
that.
sunbeam.
I
Consider
love that
again
so much.
that pale blue dots, yes,
Right,
and the
for-
whole speech as well. Yeah,
Yeah, the whole speech is amazing, and he really does. You should Google the Carl Sagan speech and
Mhm.
just look at the picture while he is speaking. And I mean, he talks about how everybody that you've ever known is right there on that dot.
Yeah.
All the wars that have been fought over, and I think he says like a corner of that dot. All the lovers, all the
half a pixel.
yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Please look at it and just meditate on it for for a bit
Every
because
creator, destroyer, hopeful kid, peasant, king, love it.
and it should hopefully I think if more people were to look at it and listen to Carl Sagan's speech, that maybe the world might be a different place. It's the
And
optimist in me, though.
I think it was Apollo astronaut, I think it was Bill Anders, I want to say, after returning from seeing the Earth from that perspective, he has a famous quote of wanting to grab politicians by the scruff of the neck and saying, "Look at that, you son of a bitch. This is what it's all about."
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So space pictures for Liz. Brandon, how about with you? What's another one you like that you love about the universe?
I'm going to get a little more, I guess there's a word for it, but I can't recall it right now. Saturn. Let's just go with Saturn. The first time seeing it through a telescope and actually seeing the rings blew my mind. The great pictures from Cassini are incredible. It's just the jewel of the solar system, and it's a beautiful thing to look at and beautiful to study and learn about.
It really is. I was working at the Melton Memorial Observatory on the University of South Carolina campus, and that was the first time I saw Saturn through a large telescope. And I'm an employee of the observatory, and for a moment, I'll be damned if I'm gonna let anybody else look at that telescope. It was really one of the most amazing things I'd ever seen in my entire life. It's actually a beautiful thing. If you ever have a chance to see Saturn through a telescope, please do so.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
You will not regret it.
I have back at my place in Phoenix, my 8-inch Dobsonian telescope. That was the first telescope I had bought, and I took it out to my front yard for a test drive. And I'm just like aimlessly looking around the sky at this point because first telescope, what the hell are you doing? Just looking around. And what's that bright thing? Let's go find it. I look at it and I see that bright light with the tiny rings around it and dots for moons around it, and I just jump up like 10 feet in the air. I was so excited to see it, and I accidentally stumbled upon it too. I didn't know what to expect.
Wow.
There was Saturn.
Yeah, I had gotten a telescope for a birthday present, which is actually sitting in the corner over there. A Celestron Astromaster 114.
Has a monkey on it.
Small telescope, and I remember that Saturn was up, so I pointed at Saturn, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Is that real?" Because you could see the rings.
It so doesn't look real.
It doesn't look real. It looks like somebody like just taped a little picture on the.
Even in small telescopes.
Yeah, even in small telescopes, it's an amazing sight, and it's just. It's such a beautiful planet, I think, because of such the prominent rings to it. But it's just the whole system itself. There's so much majesty there.
On the poles, the hexagon shape up there, just due to the weather patterns, that's a beautiful thing to look at as well.
But you're not going to see that in a small telescope, just so you know.
But through telescopes, I guess it's kind of tangential as well. If you look at Jupiter, you can see the red spot if you're looking at the right time. And that's another great thing to see. Just even through a small telescope, you can see the bands, how they change color on the planet, and that big dots. And this is amazing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Sad.
Mike?
I'm gonna steal one from Liz.
Oh.
She has this list that's taped to the table, but it is actually something that I was thinking about prior to seeing your list. So you'll be able to jump in on it. But when I look at the constellation of Orion, you can see the stellar evolution of stars in that one constellation. If you're looking at Orion, you see white stars, blue stars, they're the brightest ones. You also see red stars. There's up in the top left, you have Betelgeuse, which is a beautiful red star. You have his sword, but down at the bottom of his sword, you have this little hazy patch. And you might be looking at it going, oh, that's I need to get my eyes checked because there's a little hazy patch of light there. That is a huge cloud of dust and gas. It's it is close. Its density is close to that of an actual vacuum, but it's so large that when you look at it through a telescope, it's a great Orion Nebula. It's where stars are being born. Not just one star, hundreds of stars are being born within the Orion Nebula. And you get these things called propylids, which are these cocoons that surround these little baby stars. And so kind of like a butterfly, kind of being hidden by that cocoon. And there's solar systems that are forming that. Planets and moons and comets and asteroids are all forming in this cocoon. And then that star ignites, and its energy, its solar wind blows away that cocoon, revealing itself to the rest of the universe. It is its birthday, at least as far as we're concerned when we see it. But if you look beyond that, you see just regular stars that are living their lives. And these are main sequence stars, as we call them in astronomy. But if you look back towards Betelgeuse, you're looking at a star that is at the end of its life that might go supernova. We were hoping last year that it would go supernova. But it is a star at the end of its life. And so just really close to each other in the night sky, you can see where baby stars are being born in this stellar nursery. And then you see old stars like Betelgeuse. And it's just an amazing thing to think about. When you look at just that one constellation, you can see it all.
Yeah.
First of all, that was beautiful, Mike. That was beautiful. Loved it. And looking at those propylids, those proto-solar systems, I like to imagine the worlds that are slowly, forming, and the one day that potential life may inhabit those planets as well, and those stories and those lifetimes that will transpire, and then they'll look back and see maybe a figment of the sun in a couple billion years when it goes. It's just going to be this beautiful connection of the cosmos.
Yeah. We're all connected, whether we want to believe it or not. I know in this world that we live in right now, it is insane. It is chaotic. There's more division than connectiveness. It seems that everybody wants to be honest, it just seems like they just want to kill everybody. It is stupid, but there is more that connects us than separates us. And I'm not talking about just here on Earth. I'm talking about we're connected to the universe. We're connected to those planets that are forming in Orion. We are connected to these exoplanets that we're discovering. Seems like on a friggin' daily basis, There was. Go ahead.
There was a paper that came out in the early 50s called The Synthesis of Elements of Stars. And that was the first time somebody had connected the dots and realized that during supernovae, these heavy elements form, and that these common elements throughout the universe were formed inside of stars. And so not only are we just connected in that we're all living in the same space, we all probably we all did come from the exact same stars. We are all intimately related, not just through our DNA, but just through the building blocks of our material.
What are we made of,
who we
Brandon?
are as an essence. Stardust. Made of stardust, folks.
And that's
I love that.
I love
That's
that. And that's
it's not just a cute saying. It's not like it's actual truth. We walked out from a supernova.
That's why I love that the universe is recycling itself.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Yeah. You can't look at the universe. You cannot look at stars and space and just not be moved. If you can look up and see the stars and these incredible pictures that come from Hubble and the Spitzer Space Telescope and all these other telescopes around the world, and you're not moved by that, you're just dead inside. I mean, let's just be honest. You're dead inside.
Yeah, the black heart.
And space is one of those. Yeah, nice. It's one of those fields where sometimes if you look at something and you don't know what it is, it's just full of amazement unknown. But the more you know about space, it doesn't become smaller, it becomes bigger and becomes more awe-inspiring the more you know. Because the more you know, the more you don't know about space as well. It's just fascinating.
That's true. It's like you learn one thing, and then you have then there's a million questions that go along with whatever you just learned.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at the night sky and a dark sky spot, appreciating the beauty of the sky, those are also things that we're thinking about. Just the unknown that we don't know. It's great.
I love it.
All right, Liz, what's next for you?
Well, basically the last thing on my list, which ties into that whole how expansive the universe is, and just how there's just so much to learn about it, that essentially for us is as just living beings here that happen to get the right set of circumstances to evolve to where we're at now, is that we are essentially just a flicker in the universe.
A flicker in the universe.
And this is not my own original saying.
Nope.
We were watching a crime documentary on Netflix
because
about
that's what we do.
The Elisa Lam in the Cecil Hotel. You should watch it. But Elisa Lam, who had died at the Cecil Hotel, and it was a whole big mysterious thing about her murder. But
she had bipolar.
She posted a lot on Tumblr, and one of her posts that they mentioned in the thing was saying that she was just she was just a flickering in the universe, and I was like, that is.
Yeah. And we both stopped. It stopped both me and Liz as we're watching this, and it's just a beautiful couple of words. Because
a lot of people then, they look at how big the universe is and our lifespans, and they're like, oh, we're nothing, it's meaningless. It's just nothingness. But to me, it's absolutely the opposite. Having this being a momentary speck of existence in this huge environment that is really not that conducive to our existence as we know it, is more meaningful to me than living forever on a cloud where you really can't have fun. Let's be honest. That, just having just such that momentary existence in this universe just is more meaningful than being able to live forever. Because it's it's the chance that I actually get to exist in this universe and experience it. That is amazing.
Yeah.
I feel we need to go Robin Williams and just do the whole Carpe Diem speech.
I don't know if I remember the Carpe Diem.
Yeah, but you have to get on
Dead
your
Poet
desk.
Society.
Oh man, we should watch that.
Oh god, it's been. I don't know if I've ever watched the movie in its entirety.
Oh, we should watch it. We should watch it. It's a good movie. I love that movie.
I've actually never seen it. I just know the speech.
Oh my god! Who am I with on this podcast?
Sometimes it's still too soon to watch Robin Williams.
Yes,
that's true.
That is true. Yeah.
Well, I guess kind of connecting to what you were just talking about, Liz. It's so easy to look at space and see asteroids that potentially end life here on Earth. Look at black holes and the unknown devastation they can cause, supernovae, gamma radiation, all these scary things out there. But when I am looking or studying or talking about space, it's never fearful. I just always look at it with reverence, and just respect. Obviously, any one of those things could, end civilization as we know it easily. But it's not. It's just the universe being as it is, and knowing it just has a feeling of respect inside of me for it, and I really appreciate that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things that my astronomy teacher would say when I took astronomy at Glendale Community College was that the universe is actively trying to kill you.
But it doesn't care.
Yeah, it doesn't care. It's not really focusing on you. It just is you as a general you, even the Earth, only 3% of the Earth's surface is habitable for humans, at least, it's not a great environment, and the chances that we or any of the species on this planet
would you call that chances astronomical?
They're astronomical, to use the pun a second time. which is amazing to me. It's fantastic. And yeah, an asteroid could come in from the direction of the sun and us not see it, like Chelyabinsk, but be bigger and come in at a more harsh angle and wipe us all out, like,
the
65
Chelyabinsk
million
is
years
an
ago.
amazing story.
Ooh.
But
Yeah,
it's like, hey, that's the universe we live in, and I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to be able to experience and learn the things see the things that I've been able to.
Reminds me of the great quotes, again, talking about the connectedness and how we're made of the same stuff as stars, that we are just a way for the cosmos to know itself.
Yeah.
Which is really neat.
Yes. Yeah.
We're just the cosmos looking at ourselves thinking, well, that's cool.
Yeah, look what we can do.
Yeah.
Look what's out there. Look what we can see.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I think about astronomy and space that is like the best. I mean, yeah, there's pretty pictures and there's these crazy shit out there like quasars and gravitational waves and black holes, which is another one of my favorite things. But
mine too, but I was gonna let you have it.
You were gonna let me have black holes?
I was gonna let you have it.
But just the concept of the universe and existence. It's just, I don't know.
The concept of existence. I want to just piddle that around my head for a second.
It's like I wish I could be like, even though I kind of had that mindset, but like an astronaut, they'll tell you when they go into space, when they go into orbit on the ISS, like you don't see borders. Like borders aren't real.
There are no borders. They're man-made.
Borders.
They're man-made.
They're man-made, and it's just like your mind, like, it just opens up even more because you're realizing, like, hey, what the fuck are we fighting for? Like, what, all this bullshit.
We're fighting for a small piece of a pixel.
Yeah.
On that dot.
On that pale blue dot.
Yeah, you're
in a sunbeam,
small
suspended in a sunbeam.
Yep. That small patch of a pixel. Yes, please go. That's your homework, guys. Definitely go listen to it.
I feel this next part I think we'll all appreciate. I love the stories that space can bring us. We talked about the stories of stellar evolution earlier with the Proplids in the Orion Nebula, the collapse of stars for black holes, but also more human stories. Think about like Apollo 13, Yuri Gagarin, just building the International Space Station, fixing the Hubble. Just every kind of story you can ever want. Can occur in space as well. And if you take it a step further as well, with like the science fiction stories we can bring and the joy it brings us now, it's just an unlimited chasm of stories.
You know
what?
I
love it.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was actually thinking about that in the shower today before the show.
Shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts. Is I was thinking about that. One of the things that I love about space is the sci-fi that has come along with it, and all of those stories that we have imagined and that we think of when we are thinking of the universe, whether it's Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, or Star Trek, or the plethora of other different stories there are. Just if it is like a dramatization of something we have done, like Apollo 13, or it's just that imaginative and creative outlet that space and astronomy gives us, and just to imagine that, being those explorers.
Every frontier, whether it's the ocean, the quote-unquote Wild West, or sailing to new lands, there's always have stories, legendary stories and cultures that accompany in it. And so now, of course, we have that final frontier, which has given us everything that Liz just said. It's wonderful, and I love it. I kind of want to think, how would our imaginations be of the outside world, for example, if those mammals never went above, onto the surface, and like we had civilization beneath, we lived as mole people underneath the surface. Like, what would we think lies outside above our heads? I don't think we can ever imagine something as complex as what is actually space.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so either.
Yeah.
It's really kind of just opened up our minds. My mom brings up a good point on Twitch. What she says, what amazes me is that we are seeing things that happened millions of years ago and getting to us now, right?
Great.
Yes.
Great. Everything we see is in the past. Everything.
I love this, especially as like someone who wanted to teach history, and I love the concept of history, and I wish I could time travel and see all the things and touch all the things that are super old. But anyway,
And with things? Is that just me?
but some things maybe depends. But yes, the fact that because light has a speed, it takes a certain amount of time for light to travel
186,000 miles per second.
That when we are looking at things far away in space, we're not seeing it as it is in the present. We're seeing it as it was, however many, light years away it is, basically.
Well, yeah, and it's not even that. It's seconds. Like, when you look at the moon, it's 1.5 seconds.
Yeah,
you're looking at it as it appears.
That sunlight that hits you
ago.
is 8 minutes old.
Yeah, so if the sun goes out right now, you have 8.5 minutes until it starts to get pretty cold.
One of the things I would always love saying in the planetarium, talking about this concept, is that, imagine that you are looking through a telescope. It's imaginary. And you're looking at a planet that is 65 million light years away. You're not seeing that planet as it is now. You're seeing it as it was 65 million years ago. So you're seeing that planet as it was when dinosaurs were on the Earth before most of them died.
But if they're looking at us...
they're not seeing us standing here. They're not seeing our technology. They're not seeing us as a planet that has intelligent, advanced life. They're seeing it as a planet with dinosaurs on it.
So if we go back to that Hubble Deep Field and the Ultra Deep Field, those galaxies, they no longer exist as they did then. They have changed a little bit. They have changed somewhat or collided, or many of the stars have exploded by now. New ones have been born since we last saw it.
And all those quasars at the far edge of the universe.
What quasars? Quasi-stellar?
Basically they're very bright in the radio wavelengths. But basically these are very young galaxies with black holes that are very active, gobbling up a bunch of crap around it. So they're very bright in the radio, and we call them quasars. And we're looking at them as they were 10 billion years ago. Right now, they might look like the Milky Way, which is not a quasar at all.
Space and the technology we've developed to look at space allows our eyes to time travel, basically.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. Yep.
Now, on the same thing, I also love the cosmic microwave backgrounds. To be able to see the original lights, the original energy from the Big Bang, those 13 billion years ago.
Now, for all you kids who have only had flat screen TVs, let me take you back to a day.
Back in time.
Called 1996.
To static.
Yeah, so if you were to turn on an old school TV, you might get static on it, and it was
or some channels at 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, they would have that thing that says, "Hey, we're off" or something.
No, I remember there being it could be 2 a.m. and I'm flipping through channels and you get static on some of them.
Yeah. So nowadays it's just a blue screen, but back in the day, you would actually have static, and it's something like 1% of each one of those little static dots is actually the cosmic background radiation, which is the afterglow of the Big Bang itself from 13.5 billion years ago. It is the edge of what we can see.
You're seeing the Big Bang cigarette smoke just wafting into your TV screen.
Oh, wow, that was good.
Nice.
That was good. That was nice. That was really nice. When we look back in time, the cosmic background radiation is as far as we can see. And it's roughly about 300,000 years after the Big Bang itself.
Yeah.
That's immediate. That's the moment after the Big Bang happened, 300,000 years.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
know, which brings me
It's fine. Keep going.
as we pour a drink. Which brings me to something that I love about the universe, and it is that it touches on some of the great things that you've brought up, Liz. And you talked about us being a flicker in the universe, and that you loved just being a witness to this. You know, one of the things that I love is that we can look out into the universe and we can understand the universe. Not only can we understand the universe, we can envision things in the universe before it is actually even discovered. Let me take you back in time. Back to 1917, Albert Einstein comes up with the general theory of relativity, releases it to the world. A few years, roughly about that same time, we find out that out of these equations that came from the mind of Albert Einstein and his mathematician are things called black holes. 100 years ago, 104, 105 years ago, we envisioned black holes. Came out of a theory that we know is actually pretty accurate in predicting what things happening in the universe. And we did not discover those black holes until decades and decades later.
That's true.
And it just amazes me that when we look out into the universe, we're able to figure out how things work, how the universe operates. And not only that, the only thing, when you think about it, really and truly, anything, say, beyond our solar system, what is the only thing that we have to measure the universe? Is light. Everything that we understand about the universe, these exoplanets, these stars, these galaxies, we learn from light, because we don't visit there. We can't. We cannot
That's
go.
all we have. That's why the bigger the telescope, the better. Because it's a light bucket. The more light we can collect, the more we can see.
Think about how far that we've gone. We have only just exited our solar system.
The horse and buggy age.
Yes.
Horse and buggy stages.
We have only just left our solar system. It would take thousands and thousands of years just to get to Alpha Centauri. And as you said, or actually as your mom said, when we look at things, we are looking at things in the past. When we look at Alpha Centauri, we are looking at a star that when the light left that star, Obama was still president. We haven't even reached the age of Trump. Yeah, but still, that's like, Trump's about ready to come into office.
Okay.
But, yeah. So Obama...
us in the good old days.
Obama was still president. Think about that for a second. The only way that we can really study Alpha Centauri is through light.
Jack just said on Twitch, stars 70 light years away are just now getting I Love Lucy.
The very beginning, remember the very beginning of Contact, Jodie Foster and Carl Sagan one. The very beginning, as it has the radio waves traveling through the solar system, and then those I Love Lucy episodes reaching those 70 light years away. That is an incredible moment that really puts in perspective exactly what we're talking about here. Just how our culture has traversed the stars, but they're not even getting it yet, and we're just polluting with I Love Lucy's and Jersey Shores.
I'm gonna have you need to change your phrasing on polluting with I Love Lucy, because I Love Lucy is one of the best goddamn shows to ever exist on television. Lucille Ball is a goddess, and I love her.
Yes, I agree with that 110%. The polluting part is the first waves that actually go out, which is Hitler.
Yeah, 1936, the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Yeah. That's a great ambassador of Earth to the universe.
Hey, welcome to
there.
Earth. Yeah.
Here's Hitler. Oh shit. So
What
I got
dimension?
2 more things I want to talk
Okay,
about,
go
and
for it.
this first one is just putting into a little more concrete terms exactly what Mike was talking about. In fact, before Mike started, I had written this down and circled it because I knew you would both love it. Um, I don't. I appreciate this as much as I can, but I don't understand it because my brain doesn't think this way. But math and physics is the language of the cosmos, and I love that we're able to understand that and explore these frontiers with the numbers just on computers and pens and papers. Einstein did all this work on, a pen and paper, and that's how we discovered general relativity. So physics is the language, and I love that we have that. And there are some
Mhm.
beautiful equations out there that explain fundamental complexities in just a couple of characters, and it's
Yes.
beautiful to
Yeah.
see. Uh huh.
Yes. It really is. It's
Squiggly
amazing
lines.
that you can boil down like Schrodinger's equation, which is
To
this
a meme
equation
of a cat in a box.
Yeah.
is a quantum physics equation, which you can use to figure out the probability of where an electron will be in its orbit about a nucleus
Wow.
and things like that. It's not a long equation. Um,
And
and
even from
yes, there aren't a lot of numbers in it. In fact, I think Schrodinger's equation is all like letters and symbols, but
The only equation that I can remember off the top of my head is y equals mx plus b, and that is for the equation for how to get a slope.
you
now
remember F equals
there's
ma,
one
right?
more.
Sure.
So off the top of my head, I'm thinking the most famous equation of all time, and I don't know if there's actually
What?
debate about this. Is E equals
E
mc
equals
squared.
mc squared. Yeah.
That's probably the most famous equation out there, and I'm not sure that people know like exactly what that means
I
either.
don't think so, because to me, like, E equals mc squared, like, that was always just like, oh, that's Einstein.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means, but it's
Mike, fancy physics man?
Einstein.
Matter and energy really are the same thing.
There we go.
And the C doesn't really matter. It's just there.
C is
Speed of
well,
light.
the speed of light, right?
It does
speed
matter.
of
Sorry,
light.
it does
C is the
matter.
speed of light.
But for these
What
purposes.
what the c squared part means is you can get a shit ton of energy from a little bit of matter. Hence the nuclear fucking bomb.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you want to look at the larger universe, that's how stars shine.
Speaking of the larger universe and how stars shine, we recently, Brandon and I, just learned of something called a kilonova. Mike, please explain.
Well, I just said that it's a supernova on steroids.
I did not know kilonova, a supernova on steroids,
Wait.
was a thing, because supernovas are already fucking massive explosions.
Yeah. Now, supernovas, by the way, when a supernova occurs, the amount of energy that comes out of that supernova is greater than the entire light output of the entire galaxy that supernova occurs
I
in.
fucking love that so goddamn much.
Now, really quick, let me go back to the poem that brought up Kilonova, because it's kind of a great poem.
Okay.
So I was going on Twitter, and one of my space people, because the space community is amazing, had retweeted this. And so this was Kilonovae are red, supernovae are blue. Without them exploding, there would be no you.
That's so true!
And I thought
That is true.
Kilonovae, what the
We need
fuck is
supernovae
that?
to get the heavy
We
metals
do.
that make us!
Well, it's not only that, but like if you have a cloud of dust and gas, like the Orion Nebula, and a supernova goes off near it, it actually, that shock wave compresses that cloud of dust and gas, which means it has greater density, which means it starts the process of
Faster.
stars collapsing in on themselves.
And so when we look at those pillars of creation, that famous picture that the Hubble
Nebula.
took, they're no longer in existence because they've been wiped out by a supernova. But that compression has ignited new stars, new solar systems, new stories, new people to love space, new life forms to love
Or
space.
things that love space.
And by the way, Professor Jeff Hester,
we
he
go.
was on our show, and
Listen to the show.
he
Check out
took
that
that
episode.
picture
Where we
with
talked
the Hubble
about corn
Space
dogs.
Telescope. So
And ASU.
Yes, ASU. Yeah.
Alma mater.
Yeah, I got one more thing on my end.
Okay.
We can go on all day for
Okay.
256 hours.
Let's do yours, and then I do want to talk about black holes and how they melt my brain, and that I love it.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna say one word, and I'm gonna back up and let Liz fucking take it away. Ready, Liz?
Oh God.
What I
No
love
pressure.
about space? Robots.
Fucking robots. I love that Mars is solely inhabited by robots.
And
fucking
on
robot.
Thursday, it will get one more.
I love that so much that we will be live streaming the Perseverance landing, and I got the perfect shirt that explains my love of robots on Mars. Hint. Spoiler. Yes, the fact that we have been able to develop these throbots to not only explore Mars, but to explore our solar system and beyond.
New Horizons.
Voyager,
Juno,
Voyager 1 and 2, Juno,
Yes.
yeah.
Viking,
Pioneers.
1 and 2.
The Venera, at
It's just
Venus,
Mariners.
Messengers, Geminis, the Apollos, all these
Hayabusa.
robots. Hayabusa.
Hayabusa!
Like, yes, the robots exploring space can do so much more than what we can currently do as humans. We are fragile beings, and we need robots to learn and understand this larger universe around us. Hubble, James Webb, when it gets up there, will be amazing.
Please go up this year.
You
It'll be
know,
fun. What?
I love robots.
Let me. What is your favorite robot in space? That's a big
Okay.
question. It could be active or inactive at the moment.
Okay, I would say that my current favorite robot in space is Curiosity. Because I love the idea of a robot taking selfies on Mars. I love that so much. And because you just get this look at this foreign terrain that is just so free from our bullshit, other than the robot being there and leaving
Yeah.
all tracks marks. You know, my second favorite robot is Cassini.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And my third favorite robot is Juno.
All right, so Cassini was at Saturn. Juno is currently at Jupiter. Cassini is no longer with us. It is end of mission and actually fell into Saturn. Which is fucking awesome.
Which is
That was
amazing.
amazing.
That's the
And
death
well,
I want. If I could die falling into Saturn, sign me up.
Now Cassini has taken the most picturesque images of Saturn, the most iconic pictures of the planet. And I love the notion that the planet has been studying its entire life is the cause of its demise. And ultimately, when it fell into its atmosphere, burned up and got crushed densely in its packed atmosphere as it kept falling down, Cassini is now part of the planet.
Part of
Yes.
Saturn.
Yeah.
It's
Cassini and
poetic.
Saturn are
I like
one
it.
now.
Now, also Juno around Jupiter, the images the visual images it has taken of this planet, it's things Van Gogh could dream of. It's incredible.
Yeah, Juno is just taking amazing stuff.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh my god, those images of Jupiter's and it's fucking that outer atmosphere and the clouds and the storms.
Oh my
These are
God.
works of art.
They
They
really
are fucking works of art.
I mean, it just makes you just want to be, because obviously you can't land on Jupiter or Saturn. You know, there's no surface to land on. Obviously, you can maybe hitch a ride on a moon, but like just to be that close to a gas giant and to just see for yourself. I mean, obviously we're probably not going to see it how it looks like with the Juno pictures, because there's a lot of false color imaging that's put in, you know, but you know, just to see it like in person and all the swirling
storms,
gases
Swirls,
and that
the
chaotic
colors.
atmosphere.
It's like
It's
liquid
just-
marble melted. It's
Yeah,
Yes.
just the sight of it, you know, it's just for me, Jupiter and Saturn, and especially actually Jupiter, are the most aesthetic planets in our solar system.
Yeah, because Uranus and Neptune are boring.
Well,
Just
I mean,
Neptune is the big
count.
dark spot, and Uranus is funny because it's Uranus.
That dark spot's not there anymore.
I know.
It
That's
dissipated.
true. That's true. But it comes back. It comes back every now and then, doesn't it?
I don't know.
I think it disappeared and came
we'll have
back
to
and
send
then
a probe out
disappeared
there.
again.
Yeah, there you go.
We should have spacecrafts in orbit around all the
Every
fucking planets in our goddamn solar system.
Oh, I completely agree with that. Can I tell you my two favorite robots?
Yeah.
I'm going to go back in time with one.
Ooh.
I agree with you. I agree with you on others.
Are you going to say the one?
Well,
Okay.
probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. But I'll throw that in for good measure as well. So my favorite is because it was the first time I experienced a robot landing on another planet, and it would be the Viking.
Oh, okay.
The Viking landers.
Yeah.
Oh, Viking's good.
I'm older than you think. So
Then I think.
yeah. I also do like, I think what you might be referring to, Pathfinder and Sojourner.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so-
Pathfinder.
There we go. Cue this fucking rover.
Yeah, which was pretty much 20 years almost to the day after Viking landing. One of the Vikings landed on Mars. And so the Vikings were the first robots that I got to experience as a child landing on another planet. And I got to experience it with Carl fucking Sagan. Narrating it, not like me there actually in person.
Yes.
But but I also love New Horizons.
Oh.
Yeah, New Horizons is good.
New Horizons.
Yeah.
Pluto is still not a planet, y'all, but
It's beautiful.
but it showed us
Holy fuck.
an
it's gorgeous.
amazing world.
The landscape of Pluto. When New Horizons sent back the images and we finally got an up close view of Pluto's surface rather than the grainy Hubble photo,
Pixelated shit.
it is outstanding.
And that's what it's all about, is the discovery of the unknown and the expansion of our imagination, in that we can never have thought of before until discovering these unknown bodies.
And that's
It's
what
beautiful.
astronomy in space is about.
Yeah.
It really is. That
And to touch on what you said earlier, is that, in this a flicker in the universe, we're experiencing it.
So clearly, we've discussed a lot of the shit that we love about space on this episode. I mean, there's so much to love. It is impossible to really just narrow it down into different categories or different things in the universe that we love, because all of it is amazing. And being humans alive right now, we get to experience it, and I think that is the most amazing thing of all.
Experience and understand it.
Or kind of understand. Working on our understanding. We're working on it.
But a lot of it we understand.
So that's our episode of Cosmos and Cosmos, things we love about space. This is our love letter episode to the universe.
For everyone else listening, take a few moments after this episode to think, what do you love about space? What do you appreciate about the cosmos?
Let us know.
Yeah.
I mean, we would love to know that.
Yeah,
because we love to have, as you hopefully you have seen in the past, however long this episode is, hour, 45 minutes, whatever. We love space. We love talking about it. And we love to know what you love about the universe.
So follow us on all the things. At Drinking Cosmos on Twitter, Cosmos with Cosmos on pretty much everything else, like your Instagram, Twitch. Listen to us on Anchor.fm, Spotify, iTunes, what have you. That's our episode, Cosmos with Cosmos. Stick around for the hangover. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you next time. Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Adios.
See you later. Cheers. Cheers, everybody.
Live long and prosper.